Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good in between, good night. Hello, elegant listeners, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. It's been a little bit since we've actually recorded. I have since been to El Salvador, and by I mean Tyler Scheid, the one with the master's degree, one with the sports know-how, the one that can bounce the balls, shoot the hoops, dunk the basketball. Maybe not as good as my fellow co-host, but dunking is quite capable. You bragged about dunking before. By the way, co-host.
When have I done that?
Like 2 episodes ago.
I was lying.
You said you have to dunk to get into your truck, everything.
Oh, that just was, no, it's a silliness. I perfectly reasonable height, but incapable of dunking, and I'm just very average. That's me.
But the headbanded man that just said it's me, that's Markiplier.
Yeah, well, you know that.
Hopefully. You never know. They could be new to this. They might not know you, although it's highly unlikely. The majority of people do know you if they live on the internet.
Some of them do. I wonder how many.
At least 30 million or so, maybe. Unless they forgot. They subscribed and were just like, I just am here because I wanted to.
They wanted that cat video and then they wanted nothing else.
Just the meows or the moos. Did you do another one?
I did the dog one, yeah.
Yeah, the wolf. Was it wolf?
I don't like to talk about that.
Yeah, no. It's unfortunate that that's your most viewed video. When there's glorious things like a date with Markiplier, who killed Markiplier, heist with Markiplier, in space with Markiplier.
Look, I know you're trying to make me feel better, but this is just making me feel worse. All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Unis honest. Is that better?
No, it's gone.
Dead. Dead like people think I am because you made one joke about me.
I made more than one.
About me being dead?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Also, apparently I found out through the Distractable audience that you guys were trying to figure out where in the world I was during the episode that aired on Friday. But I think that was when I was somewhere else.
He's a mystery. Moving target, this guy. No idea. Can't put a beat on him.
Possibly even in the afterlife, apparently. But anyway, how are you, Mark? How are things?
Good, good. Busy as usual, but approaching the end of the busyness, I think.
You know, it's one of those things that you've said this so many times, I'll believe it when it's actually true.
It's been that way for a very long time. Way longer than it should have been. I was just talking to Amy about how I can't even imagine the time when, say, towards the end of In Space, I was sitting on the couch just playing Elden Ring. Just doing nothing but Elden Ring. Oh, magical times back then. Maybe someday again.
Maybe you'll be able to play games again.
Nah, I don't think so. I can't do it right now because every time I've tried to sit down and be like, I'm going to take today off, and I sit there and I try to play a game, I get anxious.
Yeah, you're just like, I need to do this.
I'm getting behind, which is true. I was getting behind, even taking the day off. But it's all good. Almost there, I think.
I feel that, though. When I'm not doing stuff, I get anxious, too.
I mean, this is different than the previous anxiety, but just because I'm like, all these freaking deadlines. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do I have something on my neck?
It looks like you have, like, did you stab yourself with Sharpie?
Wait, that actually might be bad.
Stay tuned for these post-examining in the mirror comments. But in the meantime, you should go to the fantastic website called store.gmfst.com. If you haven't checked it out, there are some fantastic products that are available for you there that we need to sell all of them out. Please. There are only a few items left. We have 22 t-shirts, 4 sweatshirts, 16 stickers, 13 wink wink nod nod pins, and 11 nuance pins. Buy them, please. Rid of us these old-timey, glorious, traditional, fantastical, what's a good term for old items that are collectible and worth lots of money?
It's not these.
No, it is. Antiques, antiquities.
It's false advertising. He's not allowed to say that.
Items of glory from GMFST's past. There you go.
I mean, they're of our present because they're right now. And
I will give you a virtual trophy from my head mind if you buy these products and sell them out.
I will blow you a kiss, but it's going to dodge anyone that hasn't and only go to the people that will.
So, Mark, lots of things have happened in the world of sport.
What the fuck? I don't know what happened.
Yes. Wayne Gretzky, no longer
dead.
The goal. What? No.
To us.
No.
Irrelevant.
No.
Irrelevant.
He has had one record taken from him just recently. Ovechkin has surpassed his all-time career goals record.
Uh-huh.
In a glorious fashion, he refused an empty net goal to pass the record or tie the record, and instead made a fantastic goal to take the lead and was swarmed by his teammates after he dove headfirst onto the ice and was celebrated immensely.
And they cut him to ribbons because you don't do that because that's where the blades are.
Yes.
If I know about hockey from our hockey episode, it's that the blades go on the ice.
And then we also had the fantastic marathon running glorious team of Houston in the national championship facing off against Florida. Yes, Houston's entire team runs the mile in an average of 5 minutes and 11 seconds. But it wasn't enough as they lost down the stretch against Florida in the national championship and failed to win it. Florida is the victor.
Damn.
I believe Florida has like a 7'9" freshman or something.
I don't know. 7'9", that's too tall. That's too tall.
In fact, he is. The 7'9" freshman center for the Gators, Olivier Ryu, Olivier space Rieux is the world's tallest teenager.
That's too tall. He's too tall.
7'9". He didn't need to get on the ladder at all to trim the net when they won in the Final Four and then
of course.
won the title.
Uh-huh.
Incredible, phenomenal player.
No, he's just tall, right?
He's just tall. But
just tall.
he's tall enough to win the national title as a freshman as a part of the Florida team. Florida Gators win it all. What other news did I tell you about before we started recording?
I don't remember.
I
You
think
think I
those
was
were the
listening
two
to you?
main things.
You think I was listening?
I don't know. Sometimes you listen. You were definitely listening when we were talking about NAS systems.
Nuh-uh. Were you?
I always listen to myself. That's not true because I always misspeak and I don't realize it. Like when I said Kanye West in that one video.
I thought that was intentional.
It was not. I didn't even realize I said it.
You know, I don't think you need to apologize for that one.
What news do you have? What do you want us to update with? Any JACUZes?
I've got plenty. No, not too many JACUZes. We've been doing everything perfectly. But, you know, there are other pieces of news. We could start with whatever you would like. Pick a sport.
Cricket. Rugby.
Wait. Stop. Go back.
Cricket?
Aha.
Ah.
Okay. All right. The Indian Premier League, I'm assuming this is cricket, saw an explosive batting performance as 24-year-old Priyansh Arya of the Punjab Kings hammered a stunning 103 runs off just 42 balls to sink the Chennai Super Kings into high school.
He had minimal bowls and he hit a bunch of runs.
Cricket
It sounds like cricket.
Arya, the uncapped opener, what the fuck, clobbered 9 sixes in his maiden IPL century, rescuing Punjab from 83 to over 5 and powering them to a daunting 219-6 total. What am I reading? No. I don't understand what any of these numbers. You didn't talk about numbers when we were talking about cricket. You talked about
They're talking about runs and bats and number of balls, long, with the positions.
Long.
It has been a while because I think that was season 1.
The knock was one of the fastest hundreds ever by an uncapped player and snapped Punjab's losing streak.
Apparently they were on a losing streak and something happened.
What do these numbers mean? They're scary. I'm scared of these. Scared of these numbers. Why do you have to pick cricket?
Somebody who knows cricket in the Reddit, tell us about these numbers.
Isn't that our job?
They might know more about cricket than I do. It's been so long.
We're washed up. We're nothing. We're done.
That was 2 years ago that we covered cricket.
No.
All right, badminton updates. Any news on badminton?
Why? I don't want you to have to. I don't like this. You don't. Stop picking.
Oh, you told me to pick. All right, then you just go.
All right.
Give me like 2 more things of news.
Apparently, badminton takes over horsens.
Don't know what that means.
All right. So we got a few in WrestleMania, which is very important to some people.
Sports entertainment, not truly sports news, but we'll talk about it.
This is why people aren't buying the merch. Come on, man.
Hate buy the merch. You can burn it. I don't care.
Anyway, WrestleMania 41 hype. CM Punk's high-profile return.
Oh, yeah. He got offered finally a main event at WrestleMania.
I am unsure who this is. It wasn't mentioned in the primer, so can't be important, right? Can't can't
CM
be.
Punk, yeah.
CM Punk? No, never mentioned, probably. I don't know. Well, either way, this week in sports entertainment reached a crescendo with anticipation for WWE's WrestleMania 41. The company confirmed a star-studded main event, a triple threat showdown featuring Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and the return of CM Punk.
Yeah, so Seth Rollins is the current reigning champion, the king of WrestleMania, the heavyweight champion of the world. And CM Punk is, he felt honored by Roman Reigns to give him that, but then it felt slighted. So then he's like, I'm challenging you for the title, so I'll see you in the title ring. And apparently the other guy is joining in for the title ring. I don't know who that is, but
Punk's comeback to a WWE ring in his hometown Chicago, no less, has been a major talking point after his 7-year absence. 7 years? 7 years?
yeah, he's been gone for a while.
No. Another marquee matchup will see undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes defend his title against legendary veteran John Cena.
Yes, because John Cena has switched from being, it's not a hero, but he switched to being a heel, which is like the villains.
He's
of
a bad
wrestling.
guy now.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
You can see me. Watch this.
You can see me.
So good for him, I guess. Great stuff. What's Caitlin Clark up to?
Sipping Mai Tais by the beach.
She changes her mind.
Would she change her mind about?
No, this is WNBA legend changes her mind on Caitlin Clark. Oh, no. Caitlin Clark didn't change her mind.
Wait. Somebody's suddenly being like, yes, she is as great as everyone says she is,
I have
finally.
no idea.
That's probably what it
I
is.
don't know at all.
That's probably it.
NBA playoff picture set after wild final week.
Which leads us straight into the topic of today. And we are going to talk about that. So, Mark.
Yeah.
NCAA tournament March Madness has finished. The national championship in college, done. Florida has won it all. No contest. It's over. But now, it's the pros' turn. That's right. Last time we talked about basketball, we covered college basketball. This time, we are going to be doing a primer on NBA basketball.
We're not going to talk about that last game because I'm looking at it right now and it seems, well, I'm not watching it, but I'm looking at the score.
You looking at the last game of the NBA season? Regular season? Yeah.
Florida Gators? Well, not NBA.
Yeah, the Florida Gators won by 2 points.
Yeah, 65-63.
Yeah.
You just glossed over it.
Yeah.
They came back from a 12-point second half deficit.
That's true because they were behind at the half and then Houston went on a run and then they came back. It was an incredible, fantastic job. It was great. But we've covered college basketball. These guys are not the NBA All-Stars that were born in the locker room by their mother.
I hope. Who else?
Exactly. So, NBA basketball. Mark, what do you remember about basketball?
Ooh, I'm going to quote Wade. He just said about basketball, there's a ball, orange, it's got watermelon lines on it.
Yeah.
Cut it open, pink stuff inside.
That's not a basketball.
This is what Wade said.
Oh.
This is what Wade said.
He's talking about a watermelon now.
This is what Wade said. I didn't say it.
All right.
Wade said it.
All right, continue on what Wade said.
Wade said, Mark is so cool and handsome.
We know this is not true now.
Wade said it.
This is not true now. But 5 players on court at a time. You can score 3 or 2 points, 3 points behind the arc, 2 points on a regular layup or score inside there. The leaf blowers scoring single points because they're shooting free throws from the line after getting fouled while shooting.
Quiet because I called him out.
And there's the court is played indoors. It's a wood court, and there's hoops that are 10 feet high, and the basketball is 29 and a half inches in diameter.
I knew that, but ask me about hockey. Don't know a damn thing.
Is it 29 and a half inches in diameter? Circumference 29 and a half inches. That's what it is. Yeah, 29 and a half circumference. It is circumference. I was like 29 and a half. I was like, that's too big for the hoop.
Yeah, it's a little big.
It was a little big. All right. So, way back, beginning of this podcast, March of 2022, we had the basketball primer. While that episode did, in fact, cover college basketball, and we did our March Madness brackets at that time, it's time for us to talk about the National Basketball Association. Okay. Though it is known more by its acronym, you'll get weird looks if you say the full name out loud. So, just like Mark gave me the weird look when I was saying it, more people will give you the weird look. Mark is always giving me weird looks.
Weird thoughts. Very different.
Oh. So, since we've already covered the basics, we don't need to rehash everything, right? But we will talk about the difference between college and professional basketball, the NBA playoffs, and as well as jump into how statistical analysis has taken over and fundamentally changed the game of basketball at the professional level and is starting to affect the college game as well.
How's that?
We'll get into that.
What's statistical analysis?
They're analyzing the stats with relation to shooting percentage, amount of points made, and how certain shots are more effective than others to maximize the amount of scoring potential in every game.
Why wouldn't they have done that before? That seems like what they should be doing.
Because there was less computer analysis and less statistics studied overall over the span as it has become more readily
So
available.
they're not following the heart of the game. They're just letting computers decide how to play.
To a degree. But there were some coaches that argued the point of shooting more threes, and that's how the game began to be evolved. And people ostracized him, being like, you're wrong. And then stats proved him right. So the NBA playoffs start in just a couple days on April 19th. So it's the perfect time to talk about the playoffs. This is kind of your playoff picture as it stands currently. All right, so you've got a play-in tournament. Sacramento Kings are going to have to face against the Dallas Mavericks. Winner of that game gets into the winner's bracket of the play-in tournament. Now, the 7th seed and the 8th seed will play each other, and that's the Timberwolves versus the Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
The loser of that goes into that play-in against the Kings or Mavericks. And the Grizzlies will jump, or not the Grizzlies, the winner of the Timberwolves Grizzlies will jump into the 7th seed right away. All right.
So because these ones on the outside of the chart here have such good records, they've basically advanced automatically uncontested.
Correct.
And then the matchups in the middle are the ones with good but middlingly good records.
Correct. Yeah. So the seeds are based on who has the best record on the Western Conference or Eastern Conference, which the Eastern Conference is on the right side.
Uh-huh.
And crazily enough, our hometown team, where LeBron dreamed to play and played initially in his career, are doing better than they ever have and are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Who?
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Why?
Because they're phenomenal.
It's not our hometown.
It's the home state. It's the only NBA team in Ohio.
Wow, they're doing that. Actually, record is quite good. What's got them all hot and bothered?
They've had some young talent influx, and they play extremely well as a team.
Oh, that doesn't seem right. Must be drugs.
And then you can see on the play-in side, you've got, in the Eastern Conference, you've got the Bulls versus the Heat and the Magic versus the Hawks. Winner of Magic Hawks moves into their 7 seed, and Bulls and Heat winner of that moves in to play against the loser of the 7 and 8 seed. And then that winner moves on to get the 8 seed. But you got Pacers, Bucks, Knicks, Pistons, Celtics, and you've got Thunder, Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers, Warriors, and Rockets in the Western Conference. So that's the current playoff picture. This is what's going to be going down. This is how the games are going to go. It's exciting. Top-tier talent playing against top-tier talent. And winner overall through their series wins. I believe the play-in tournament is a one-and-done thing. But we're going to get into that.
It seems fun. It seems like it could be fun. Not for me, but to play in it. To watch, sure, but I wouldn't play in it. I would get destroyed. So I'm gonna stay out of this one.
That's fair. Fair is fair. All right. So modern NBA. Winner of March Madness news. We already covered that. Florida won. They did it. Highly accomplished.
I feel like you're being very dismissive about Florida here.
They're great.
It's the least convincing they're great I've ever heard in my life.
So let's talk about the differences between college basketball and the NBA.
3 points different.
That is correct.
Free throws different.
The free throw is different?
Isn't it different?
I believe it's the same.
No. Gotta shoot granny style in the NBA.
All right. So first off, the game time is different. Regulation games in college are 40 minutes, 20-minute halves. NBA games are 48 minutes, 4 12-minute quarters. So instead of halves, they move to quarters and they extend the time to have 12-minute quarters.
Why is that? For more commercial breaks.
Exactly. And more rest between time for your players.
Old men get tired.
Yeah.
So tired.
In addition, they have similar overtime rules in that overtime periods are 5 minutes long. Shot clock. In college, 30 seconds. Clock resets to 20 seconds if an attempted shot hits the rim. The NBA, 24 seconds, making it a little bit of a faster game, and it only resets to 14 seconds if an attempted shot hits the rim. Possession arrows are also different. In college, The team that loses the initial jump ball to start the game gets possession at the next jump ball situation, which is usually when they tie up and they're wrestling over the ball and both people have equal possession of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then they just go, oh, this other team gets the ball because they have the possession arrow. In the NBA, the team that wins the initial jump ball automatically gets possession to start the third quarter, and the team that loses the jump ball automatically gets possession to start the second and fourth quarters. Now, in any tie-up situations and jump ball possessions, they're actually resolved by actual jump balls between the two players involved. So if a 7'9" guy is tied up with the 6'1" guard, they're having to jump ball against each other.
Shouldn't have been fighting that 7'9" guy. If I see a 7'9" guy, I'm not going to fight him. I know better. I can't win that.
Crazier thing, there have been moments where the shorter guy has absolutely won the jump ball after the tie-up. But there have some pretty funny occurrences where there's a really tall guy and a shorter guy in the NBA. Granted, they're all really tall. The other thing, personal fouls. Remember how in college you get 5 fouls and then you're out?
No.
No. Well, I told you that in the...
I don't remember anything.
It's a combination of personal and technical fouls. In the NBA, you get 6 individual fouls or 2 technical fouls. The first technical foul, I believe, only counts as 1 personal foul, if it's even counted at all.
So it's like a foul ball.
Foul ball. Yeah, if you play outside the lines and punch somebody in the face.
I had a serious suggestion in that it counts as a strike.
Oh, yeah.
But not for, well, I mean, it counts as a strike as well, but not for the last one.
That actually makes sense. I'm sorry for discounting you.
All right.
You used some good logic and you were on the right track. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You know what Wade said? You weren't lying, and Wade actually did say how great you were.
Well, he mostly said how handsome I was.
He probably pleaded wishing he could be just as handsome as you.
Now that you mentioned it, I think he did. Yep, absolutely. I remember him mumbling that loud mumbling.
With a little bit of tears falling down his face, too.
A lot, actually.
Yeah. He was making a puddle, and then he'd have to use his shirt to allow you to step, safely over the puddle. Or jacket.
It's hard to yes and that one. We were on the internet. But yes, and I then punched him in the face.
Wow! Yes, and his face exploded.
Yes, and we're going to his funeral.
Oh, yes, and that's depressing.
Yes, I want to jump in the grave too. It's my fault. All right, and isn't that funny? Don't you love it? God, everyone listening to this podcast laughing and laughing.
Oh, God. All right, now team fouls. All right. Now, in college, the 7th team foul and a half gives the opponents the award of any foul after that fact. They get 1-and-1 free throws. So they get at least 1 free throw. If they make it, they get a second one. Unless it's an offensive foul. After the 10th team foul and a half, opponents are awarded 2 free throws, except on offensive fouls. Then it's just a turnover. In the NBA, after the 4th team foul in a quarter, the opponents are awarded 2 free throws for every foul thereafter. Whether it's a shooting foul or not. That's the key thing. Because if it's a shooting foul, you automatically get 2. Or 3 if you're behind the arc.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen 3.
I have multiple times. It did happen in the March Madness this year a few times. So if you get fouled in the process of taking a 3-point shot, you have the potential for a 4-point play if you make the 3, because then you only get 1 shot. That's always the case. If you get shot while shooting, or get shot while shooting, if you get fouled while shooting and you make the basket, you only get 1 additional free throw.
Okay.
That's with the invention of the and 1.
Isn't that the same for a 2-point?
Yeah, and 1. If you get shot, if you get fouled while shooting,
you get shot.
Probably
and
dead.
1. The refs go, and 1. And they wheel it.
And then they shoot again. Oh.
And they're like, and 1. And then they chalkboard for all the players have been shot on the court.
And now we're to the thing that you knew about. So please tell me, how big of a difference is the three? How big of the deck?
How big of the dick?
How big of a difference is the 3-point line between college and the NBA?
In circumference or radii? What are we talking?
Distance from the hoop. So radii.
3.
3 what?
Oh, now you're asking me what the questions are? I'm sorry. I thought I was the one being quizzed. I mean, I thought I am. I thought. Anyways, 3.
In college, the 3-point line is 22 feet and 1 3/4 inches from the center of the basket and 21 feet 7 7/8 inches from the corner of the court, because you have to have a gap between the lines and the outside.
What a stupid number.
The NBA, the 3-point line is 23 feet and 9 inches from the center of the basket in most places, and 22 feet away in the corners of the court.
What a stupid number.
But their courts are actually the exact same size. So the gap between the sideline and the 3-point line is smaller in the NBA. So you kind of got to squeeze your feet and have good footwork in there to keep you from being out of bounds while remaining behind the arc.
But aren't most of the 3-point shots shot from the corner?
A good amount are. Most of them are actually shot from the top of the key. But actually, for the dish outs and rotation, because they can hide along the baseline, you're right. A lot of shots are taken from the corner. The top of the key is like the top of the arch towards like, you know how the basket's like here. Here's the basket. The top of the key is this way, like center on. So the backboard is perfectly perpendicular to the shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what?
Or top of the paint where the free throws are.
You know what's funny? You remember Steph Curry made that like from the locker room entrance shot.
Are you talking about the one that didn't actually go in?
I was
and
gonna say it didn't go in.
Hit the net in front of it, and everyone was like,
really funny because on the other side, from the camera side, everyone was like, "Oh,
yeah!"
Everyone on this other side that actually got the view of it
they're like, "Why are people cheering?" I mean, he still got really close, but
don't matter. That ain't no points.
You right, but he wasn't shooting for real. There weren't going to be any points anyway.
He tried and he failed,
but he's made shots like that before.
When?
In his career.
It wouldn't have been his career if he was out of the game.
Oh,
off the court. You can't do that.
In his life.
Never done. Yeah, right. I've done it in my life.
You probably have, honestly.
No, I haven't.
No, okay.
No, I have not.
I've made some crazy shots in my life.
Yeah, I shoot all my shots off the court.
You remember that shot at the place I used to live with Ethan, and I made it during the Super Bowl from underneath the stairs, and it was into the recycling bin. Ethan gave me $100 because I was like, what would you give me if I made it? And I actually made it, and I got $100 from Ethan.
Just like Steph Curry.
He's a great.
He's a pretty good.
He's not top 5 all time like Caitlin Clark, according to ESPN.
That's what
I
said.
So we looked at the current playoff bracket.
Yeah.
So the playoff format that we need to talk about, as we show here on the play-in tournament, which is the focus on the play-in tournament. You have the top 6 teams on both the Eastern and Western Conference already ranked by winning percentage directly that have advanced to the playoffs.
Okay.
Teams ranked 7th through 10th, however, compete in this play-in tournament in order to make it into the official playoffs. So the 7th seed hosts the 8th seed. The winner secures the 7th playoff seed. The 9th seed then hosts the 10th seed. The winner advances to play the loser of the 7th and 8th seed, as you can see here on the bracket. So 9-10 win, 7-8 lose. The winner of the and then in this they play one game, and the winner then moves in and becomes the 8th seed. This game, of course, is hosted by the higher seed in the matchup.
To explain this to anyone that's just listening and not actually watching, it's essentially like there's 10 seeds, quote unquote, which is how things are placed for tournaments in terms of the participants' performance prior to the tournament, right? So they rank them 1 to 10th, being like this was the first best teams, and then the 10th best worst teams. If you're in 10th and 9th, you only get 1 shot to advance, and if you lose that, you're gone. If you're in 7th and 8th, you technically get 2 shots to get in this tournament because you're that much better than the 9th and 10th place teams. And then after that, it's 1 shot only for everybody.
No, once you get to the 7th and 8th seed, then the format shifts. And they conduct the playoffs in a traditional format where they play best of 7 series. So they'll play 7 games. The series is played in a 2-2-1-1-1 format. So one team hosts the first 2, another team hosts the second, and then they switch courts each time. Meaning the team with the home court advantage or the higher seed hosts games 1, 2, 5, and 7, while their opponent then, the lower seed, hosts games 3, 4, and 6, with games 5, 6, and 7 being played if needed.
That's a lot of games. Why does it need to be that many games?
It's it's literally advertising and money, but it also allows for you to have the opportunity to recover from injury if you have players that were hurt during the regular season. It also opens up the opportunity for you to have better performances, so you don't have to necessarily be at your best, top of your game every match.
How does playing more games allow you to recover?
You have breaks in between.
Oh, well, that's adorable. But if they played 5 games, they would have a little more.
True, but I don't. It's because they want more games and they want more advertising money. They want more ticket sales. It's all of that.
I mean, I like a basketball game. I've gone to 2, and they were enjoyable.
In the first round, obviously the 1 seed plays the lowest seed, which would be the 8th seed after the play-in tournament. 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, and 4 plays 5. The second round, known as the conference semifinals, and then the third round is known as the conference finals. Teams that progress from each conference then meet for the NBA finals to determine the champion. So it's always going to be East versus West. Just like in the NFL, the Super Bowl is always AFC versus NFC.
I knew that.
Yep. So it's one side versus the other. But now it's talked about now it's time to talk about the statistical analysis, how it's evolved the game. You can't touch my pointer. It's everywhere. Over the past few decades, the NBA game has been evolving year after year. But what has actually caused these changes? And that's statistical analysis. Statisticians started looking at players' shooting percentage and points accumulated based on shot selection. So it's based on how many shots they took, where they shot them, and how many were made. This game gave the overall NBA and coaches tons of information in how they could determine the best chance of winning based on where they take shots throughout the game.
Again, this seems like it should be logical. Like, this seems like what they should have been doing all this time, no matter what. Even before computers, you could do some math.
Correct. It was just a lot harder to track where shots are without the cameras that we have today and figuring out where on the court they were shooting. They started doing shot tracking and shot selection tracking for players. So over time, teams began adjusting their play style to incorporate what they learned from this statistical analysis and reshaped how the game is played. Back when Michael Jordan played.
Who's that?
And in his prime.
Who's this? Who is this?
Argued as one of the
This isn't
greatest,
LeBron.
Argued as one of the greats of basketball, one of the biggest clutch shooters and great defensive player. If you look at him, he was the king of the mid-range shot.
He was real mid, this guy.
So you can see
I'm gonna
he
get
didn't
killed. I'm gonna
You
get
are.
killed. I'm gonna get killed.
You can see he made his shooting percentage based on location on the court. Surprisingly, only 50% down low, which is kind of low. But this is all throughout the game. We're not focusing on free throws, right? Because free throws are free shots for free points. But you can see the shooting percentage based on location, and he was a fantastic mid-range shooter.
He shot all over.
Yes, one of the best shooters of the mid-range shot of all time. In today's game, the mid-range shot is nearly extinct. Looking at a similar player named James Harden, he's not necessarily as good, but they both played similar positions in that they were small forward / shooting guard type styles of play. But you can see there is no real mid-range shot. Very few and far between. It's all either short range, very much under the hoop, or behind the arc. And you can see as you've focused on the three-point shot, their percentages have gone up. And so the main reason the extinction of the mid-range shot occurred is because depending on where a shot is made, it's worth either 2 or 3 points. And it's 3 points if you're behind the arc. Now, 2-point shots with only a 50% chance of being made, if you're that good as Michael Jordan, it's still only 2 points on a mid-range shot. But if you can get a slightly higher percentage and shoot a 3-point shot, you get 1 additional point for each one made. So why not take advantage of a slightly lower percentage shooting rate and get more points? Because it's not even that much lower. You look at 42%. If you math that out based on the number of shots taken per game, that occurs more points than 50% from 2-point range overall. And then the only time you really take 2-point shots is when it's a higher percentage underneath the basket, because you have a much more likelihood of making it, because it's almost a guaranteed 2-point shot for the most part.
They should add in a 4-point shot.
They should.
Half court.
Yeah, beyond half court. And a 5-point shot if you make it from under your own hoop.
And you get 10 points if you get it through their hoop and then into your own hoop.
You get 10 points if you dive through a dunk. You dive through the hoop without touching the rim.
Yeah. It has to be clean. Can't even touch the net. Fit through the hole in the middle. Squeeze.
Your big man's just stretching out the net whole game for the 10-point chance at the
what
end.
are you doing? Nothing.
Don't stretch.
Who's the Hulk in this scenario?
Shaq.
He's retired.
He could come back. Just be as dominant.
I don't think he could.
He could never make a free throw, but you know what? I think his 3-point percentage is better than his free throw.
How old is Shaq?
40 something.
53.
He is. Oh,
He ain't coming back.
all right. So we showed the comparison. These are distinctly different years. So this is Jordan in 96 to 97. This is James Harden in 2018 to 2019.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As you can see, the disappearance of the mid-range shot is because analysis shows that more points were scored in the game if shots were made either close to the hoop or from the 3-point line because of shooting percentages and the point ratio of 3 versus 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
Close range shots, while worth fewer than 3 points, when you have better odds of making the shot, are much better to take advantage of than to constantly just shoot threes. But the mid-range shots completely became obsolete because of this statistical analysis. And in fact, I have this cool GIF here. So you can see the shots as they change over time.
Uh-huh.
And as the mid-range has almost completely disappeared.
Has this made the games more boring?
There is a debate with regards to that because the spirit of basketball is almost gone. And in fact, NBA's viewership is dropping. And part of that is because, why am I watching this game when it's always going to be 3-point shots or underneath the basket? There's less big man play. There's less threat from the mid-range shot. It's made it so that it's less exciting because you know when a shot's going to be taken. It's either going to be under the hoop or behind the arc.
Yeah, there's no fighting for getting to a spot where you could make a good shot.
It's also changed defense. Defense basically plays to cover the arch and cover under the basket. They don't have to play defense in the in-between.
Mm. Do you think that this weirdly creates an opportunity where a team that really focused on being good at the shooting game could upset the balance because suddenly everyone's training for arc and under the net, and then suddenly the middle is open? So if a team entirely went for that,
there's potential for that. That could be a coaching decision and a strategy that could happen.
Is that what Cleveland's doing?
I don't think so.
Pull up Cleveland's shot chart.
I can't.
Pull it up.
I'll see if I can find it.
Pull it up. Nope. It ain't that. No, it ain't. I found it.
It's a lot of yeah. So as you can see through that GIF, things have changed. And in fact, there's even a showing of the difference of just 2001 to 2019.
I mean, that's a big gap, but yeah.
That's a shorter gap than you would think. And this is the top 200 shot locations. This isn't full shot selection charts.
Yeah.
This is just shot locations. So you can see how much more shots are taken around here and in the corners, and then even more under the hoop. A fun little tidbit to end this is to talk about the history of the NBA. So if you're interested in the history of basketball itself, I talked about Joe Namath and how it began in the basketball primer. So you should go check that out. Give it a listen. There's tons of history that we haven't covered, however, like the history of the slam dunk. Mark.
Yes.
The slam dunk didn't really exist until 1936. And in the Olympic Games in Berlin, the 6'8" USA team captain Joe Fortenberry reached, and this is a quote, reached up and pitched the ball downward into the hoop, much like a cafeteria customer dunking a roll in coffee, according to the New York Times.
What?
That's from the New York Times.
You know what else doesn't make sense anymore? They always are like, dunk your donut in your coffee. I've never done that.
I've never done that.
Why would I do that? That sounds, it's my soggy ass donut. Now it tastes like coffee.
Maybe it's their way of sweetening the coffee too. I don't know.
Maybe. It just seems dumb. No one does that. Go away. Stay. Listen to this podcast.
So history in one way says that this was done while training. However, if you go by Google's AI, which we all can trust.
All of us.
Entirely.
I trust.
Google AI says the first slam dunk in organized basketball is widely credited to Joe Fortenberry, a member of the U.S. men's basketball team in the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, who famously dunked on Canada on August 7th, 1936. Get dunked on, Canada. Can't win the Stanley Cup. Getting dunked on in basketball.
They did win.
No, they didn't.
I thought they won.
They haven't won in a while. The Canadian team has not won.
Wasn't that the whole thing? Oh no, that was the slam in the bam. That was the
Slam in the bam.
that was the slam in the bam. You know the slam in the bam.
What are you talking about?
How big hockey thing? The slam in the bam.
The slam in the bam.
Yeah, slam in the bam. I'm googling it. See, yeah, here the bam with the slam.
And let bam, whoa, bam. That is the plan.
I don't know.
Anyway,
What was it?
Are you talking about the tournament? The four.
Yeah, the 4 bams to a slam.
The 4 bams to a slam. The 4 Nations tournament.
That was it.
God dang. Yes, Canada won the 4 Nations tournament. That's not the Stanley Cup, though. But there's also more NBA history to share.
Stanley Cup.
Like the breakaway basketball rim. Because of slam dunks and the breaking of backboards, a breakaway rim in basketball was created that uses a hinge and a spring to the point where it attaches the backboard so that it can bend downward when a player dunks the basketball and then quickly snaps back to the normal position when they release it. It did, in fact, revolutionize the game of basketball, but its inventor, a grain elevator worker in Illinois named Arthur Erat, knew nothing about basketball. In 1975, his nephew, who was a basketball coach at St. Louis University, asked him for help in designing a rim that could support slam dunks for more exciting basketballness.
That's pretty cool.
So he bought an inexpensive rim, experimented using farm equipment, and bam!
With the slam!
God damn!
I told you.
It's all
Bam with
done.
the slam.
And then there's the alley-oop. Very famous. You just showed me a video of an alley-oop to Dwayne Wade. Now, while it was first used in basketball in 1972, during this time, slam dunking was actually illegal. This didn't stop star player for North Carolina University, David Thompson, from jumping off the ground, catching a lob pass while in midair, and was thrown by one of his teammates and scoring via a layup against the backboard. Once dunking became legal in 1976, then the alley-oop was officially born with the dunk version finish.
Oh, I know. No, I thought an alley-oop was a layup in my head. I'm like,
no, an alley-oop is a pass to
bam! I thought you
the slam and the bam and the damn goddamn.
I thought you just were alley-oop.
Yeah, alley-oop.
Alley-oop. And then it's in. Then you win.
But here's the coolest fact. NBA has its history tied to hockey. You want to know how?
No.
The NBA was actually created because a popular sport in New York.
Ignoring me.
Yes.
I said no. I don't want to know.
That's why I was explaining. You don't.
I don't want to know anything about hockey. I'm waiting for the hockey primer.
Well, it's not about hockey. It's about basketball, but it's tied to hockey. But the NBA was created because of a popular sport in New York City in the 1940s. Can you guess what sport that was?
1940s. Smoking.
Hockey. Smoking's not a sport. Wait a second.
In the 1940s, it basically was.
You're right.
War. A lot of war in 1940s.
But it was because of ice hockey. In June of 1946, Boston Gardner owner Walter Brown realized that major ice hockey arenas were vacant most summer nights and could be used to host basketball games. And thus he established the Basketball Association of America, which in 1949 merged with the National Basketball League to create the National Basketball Association.
That's nice.
And of course, the league grew in popularity, and by the early 1980s, the NBA was struggling with low attendance and declining television ratings, and in the mid-1980s, through aggressive marketing that highlighted stars such as Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and lucrative broadcast rights for network and cable television, the league began to turn around. And by 1996, you could see NBA players on nearly every box of breakfast cereal, Wheaties, and more importantly, in the iconic movie Space Jam. Rest is history, and of course, the NBA continues to be widely popular, not only in the US, but internationally, especially as a sports entertainment company.
You forgot about another basketball movie, the greatest of all time, featuring
Glory Road?
No. Featuring one of your favorite basketball
Jam
players
2?
that you have mentioned in this very episode multiple times.
Oh, what is the Shaq one?
Kazam.
Kazam.
The greatest basketball movie of all time.
Glory Road, Coach Carter. I was going to start naming a bunch of basketball movies.
Those are. What is? I've never seen those. Stupid, you know.
But that's the NBA.
Well,
That's your primer on NBA basketball.
we already had a primer on NBA basketball.
No, we had a primer on college basketball.
I thought that wasn't that NBA.
We mentioned NBA a couple of times in the rules, but we were talking about college
It was like
basketball.
the second episode we
It
ever
was
did.
focused on March Madness. It was in March of 2022, 3 years ago.
So did we only focus on college hockey?
No, we focused on NHL hockey.
Well, then let's talk about college hockey and redeem ourselves for once.
That'll be 7.0.
7.0.
I don't know, man.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
just doing my thing.
So am I. And so are you, sweet, delicious viewers and listeners at home.
Yes, please be doing your thing by sharing with a friend, letting them know about this podcast and why it's your favorite and why we are your favorite ever in the entire universe.
They don't need to lie.
No lies needed. They're not lies. They're truths.
They will be truths when we're done with you.
As long as you believe it, as long as you listen, as long as you watch.
Just relax and surrender your consciousness to us.
Prime your ears for glorious content. Prime your eyes for glorious views of sport chaos. And support us by going on the Reddit with your jacuzzas. When we are wrong and you decide to be angry with us, you have an outlet. Reddit.com/r/GMFST jacuzzas. If you have an idea of an episode, you can also throw it there and we'll listen to it eventually. It just takes time. There's a long list. And if you yell at me too much, then I go, ha ha ha, and let's just put that further away. Just being honest. But yes, use the Reddit. If you want to get some sweet swag in order to share it publicly about your glorious love for the glorious hosts that are myself and Markiplier and this glorious podcast, go to store.gmfst.com. Buy that stuff before it's gone forever and you can never touch it. You can never feel it. You can never enjoy it. It sounds way too sensual.
And we're not sensual enough, depending on what is going to actually sell it to you.
But that's all for us today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, Mark. I know you got a busy schedule, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you
Aww.
for preparing these episodes. I can't wait for the hockey one.
All right. All right, bye.